All right, mic check, mic check, mic check. Welcome back to another episode of the Justin Dunning Podcast. Rocking and rolling. We got a special guest. You watch The Breakfast Club?
I don't.
Oh, you ever heard of The Breakfast Club? With Charlamagne, DJ Envy?
Yeah. Actually, I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay, every time DJ Envy does his intro, he says, we got a special guest in the building. That's how he says building every single time. But we got a very special guest in the building. OG Bobby Grant. Robert Grant. My bad.
Yep.
Let me be official. Robert is a current track athlete here at Texas A&M, and you're the first different sport guy I had on here, which is something I want to do. Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Groundbreaking.
I'm glad it's you. You have a really interesting story that, I started looking more into it last night after I asked you to be on, and it's pretty interesting. I wanted to kind of bring it to the platform and give you the opportunity to talk a little bit more about that. And we can also throw a little bit of, other topics around too, talk about that a little bit. But how you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
You're good.
Good day today.
It's a beautiful day outside. It's like 70 degrees. So you are from Phoenix, Arizona, correct?
Yep.
Lived there your whole life?
Yep, born and raised.
Born and raised. Are you actually from Phoenix? Or you from the outskirts?
I'm from right outside, if there was an uptown in Phoenix, that's where I'd be at.
So the nice part?
No. Nice part's like Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. I am from a good part, but those areas are in Phoenix. If that's where all the super rich people go to retire. Right.
So I was looking at all these statistics of yours whenever you came out of high school, and I think it's your senior year. You were the #1 ranked hurdler in the nation. You have all these different statistics on here. I know at my school we had a lot of multi-sport athletes, and you probably played other sports as well. But track was always kind of like a back burner sport. So it was we play football, and then in the off season we'll go and run track.
Yeah.
Once y'all go run track, we play basketball and then go run track. But we never had a guy. Maybe we had a couple guys, but nobody that really just focused on track. Was that your focus all of high school?
No, so I was a football player, and that's what I went. That's what I was. That was my game right there. I played running back, and I played a little bit of DB, but I can't run backwards. So
yeah,
They kind of switched me around to safety and stuff. But my sophomore year, I don't know if you ever heard the name Devin Allen.
Yeah.
But we were high school teammates, and so
Oregon, right?
Yep, University of Oregon wide receiver. Now he's a Nike athlete. But we were going to Chandler Rotary, and my coach Tim O'Neill and him. They kind of bet me that I wouldn't do the hurdles, because I had kind of done them a little bit, but they're you should try them at this meet. Coach O'Neill was always because I thought I was a sprinter, right? I'm a 1-2 guy. I'm nobody messes with me.
That's all I got, right?
He was no, you should really try and hurdle. So as a bet, Devin was bet you can't beat me, and so I'm competitive as heck. So I was all right, let's go. Yeah. So I went to the meet and I got second behind Devin, which was great for the first meet because at the time he was the #1 hurdler in the country in the 110 300 hurdles, and they didn't tell me for a while because they didn't want my head to blow up. Yeah. But that was the #1 time in the country for a sophomore. My first race in the 300 hurdles at a big meet. So they didn't tell me for 3 or 4 weeks afterwards. I didn't even know how to look up the rankings at that time. I just was running for fun.
You was out there running.
And then my coach, once he told me, he's so this could be something that you could do at a really high level. And from there it just kind of took off. I quit football going into my senior year. Coaches didn't like me doing multi-sports. It's gotten a lot better at my high school now than it was. Right. But multi-sport was not very encouraged when I was there. Yeah. Just That's because weird. It kind of it was weird. I couldn't understand. Yeah. They're coaches were saying that when track season ends, football season starts. Right. And football season didn't end until track season started. So they were giving me 2 months. Yeah. But at the high level of track, high school track is great, but at the summer times when you get into meets. Mm-hmm. So they were upset that I was competing in the summer, but I wasn't missing any practices either. So it just became a conflict where I kind of had to decide, where's my future going to go? And so track it was because that's where all my offers were coming in from.
Were you good at football though?
I was good at football. I was pretty good at football. I never really got a chance to play on varsity because I broke my hand my junior year. I had thumb surgery, UCL surgery in my hand, and then I had quit my senior year. I got you. But I was moved up as a freshman to play on varsity because I had the speed to do it. And then sophomore year, I kind of did JV varsity kind of back to back. So I'd play on JV on Thursday, and then I'd play on varsity on Friday night. But I was kind of in a limited role because I was so young. Yeah. So, but then once I got older, I didn't play anymore pretty much because of injury, and then I quit. So. Right.
How many offers did you receive
for track?
Yeah.
Probably upwards of 50. Track is different because so many schools contact you, and I had good grades as well. So I had a lot of academic schools contacting me too. But if I would say pure offers, where like schools I visited and stuff like that, probably 10. But I had like 45 schools talking to me, 45 to 50 schools.
Where you could have went if you pursued it.
Yeah, if I really wanted to, I could have. But yeah, 5 or 10 were like the schools that were really heavily into me.
Okay. See, I've noticed like track guys, y'all don't get so much into recruiting as the guys do nowadays with football. You see guys putting out top 10, top 20 lists and stuff like that. Did you ever have like a top 3 maybe?
I had a top 5.
Top 5.
I was TCU, Tennessee, Miami, University of Arizona, and UCLA. Those were my 5.
Okay, but you ended up choosing Miami.
The U.
Why Miami?
Devin West, who's at University of Texas now, actually.
Okay.
He's one of their assistant coaches there. That man's a wizard at recruiting. Like he got a bunch of guys to go to Florida State. That Georgia team last year that did really well, like he played a big part in that.
Right.
He's really, really great recruiter, great coach. And so he had recruited me to come there. And it was actually kind of a visit where I didn't know if I wanted to take it because
you want to go to Miami?
It was always my dream school, but for football, and I didn't know much about their track team.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was like, I'm going to take this visit. So I went.
Right.
And you know, Kirby Matoka, I don't know if you know who she is, but her little brother's committed to Miami. And I told her when he went, I was like, he is going to commit because you can't go to Miami and then want to leave.
Okay.
Like, so when I went there, just the campus is beautiful, the academics is great, and they have great facilities, and it had everything at the time that I wanted. So at that point in time, that's where I wanted to go to school. If I made like a spreadsheet of all the things and I checked off, and Miami had all those things. So that's why I decided ultimately to go there.
How was living in Florida though? You hear all these different stereotypes about just weird stuff going on and weird people living there.
So Miami, like they call it the state of Miami because if you were to cut off the tip of the bottom of Florida, that's like a different state. So if you go up higher to like Tallahassee and Gainesville and stuff, those people are different. They're like, it's kind of like more like the South. But then Miami is like, if you were to think of like a melting pot of everybody, that's what Miami would be. There were so many people that spoke different languages, different cultures, different races. And that was a big reason why I decided to go there because it was so cool to me that like I got on the elevator when I was there and I heard 4 different languages while I was in the elevator.
Wow.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. So like that was a big thing for me is like kind of experiencing all that stuff.
Right. But it was nice besides that. No weird people.
I mean,
did you see anything weird happen?
There was a lot of luxury vehicles at the U. So it's kind of like if you were to compare it to like SMU or USC. So there's a lot of it's expensive to go to school there.
Right.
So there's a gold chrome Maserati that's parked outside of our dorm and Lambos and all the stuff all over campus where like you wouldn't expect a college kid to have that stuff. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a story of a girl in the freshman dorms who is like royalty in the Middle East and her dad gave her like $500,000 for her birthday.
What kind of mess is that?
Yeah, so that I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of the rumor that went around when I was a freshman. We were like, oh my gosh, trying to find her. I was like, I want to know who she is.
Yeah, for real. All right, so I'm looking at, let me see all these different stats you got your freshman year. You're a member of the 4x4 relay there, had second in the ACC indoors.
Me and Artie Burns.
Part of the 4x1 also. I mean, you came in as a true freshman, and you were in a lot of the top 5 markers for school history. Why did you transfer?
It came down to like not being the right fit for me. So it didn't have anything to do with training or coaches or anything like that. It just wasn't the original reason why I went there was to build something that hadn't been built before. Okay. That was kind of like I went in there with Jalen Jones and Henry DeLaws, and David Njoku, who actually plays tight end for the Browns now. So we were kind of those 3 or 4 guys that were going to try and change it.
Was he the track guy?
David he was 7'2" high jumper, I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's right. He was a national champ.
Okay.
In the high jump.
I didn't know
Not in college, but in high school.
Okay.
So we kind of were going to go in there and change it. Yeah. And after the first year, it was just like I selfishly kind of wanted something a little more than that. Like it was going to be extremely difficult. I wanted to win a national championship as a team. Okay. And it was going to be really difficult to do that there on the men's team. Okay. Because of scholarships, because it's so expensive to go to school there, so it's hard to give partials and stuff like that, and you just didn't have the manpower at some points to win some of these meets. And I kind of wanted to be a part of a team where we had the opportunity to be national champions. Right. And I wanted to be part of something that was kind of like a little bigger than me. And like you said, I did do well there, top 5 marks in a lot of events, but it just was not really what I'd expected out of my college track experience because, which that's personally just me. Like I'm not trying to talk bad about I'm not saying anything bad about the program, but I just wanted to be a part of like a big team that does big things. And so that was kind of like the realization that I had is like, this is a great place, but for me, I kind of wanted something a little different. Right. So I decided to transfer.
Now, how did I know obviously it's different from football to track, the scholarship situation. Some guys have full, some guys are partial. How does that work out?
So you get 12.5 for men. I think it's like 16 for women. And those 12.5 are, especially here, like we have like 80 guys on our team. So there's 12.5 scholarships for 80 people. So you kind of have to look at, like, for coaches, is they got to look at, can this guy score in multiple events? Can this guy do more than one thing? So for Coach Henry, he kind of looks at, can you run on the relay for me? Can you score me points on the national level? For a program like this, you got to be able to score at the national level if you're looking for like a substantial scholarship to be here. For a school like Miami, obviously they have 12.5 as well, but it's $65,000 a year to go to school there. So you can't really give 50% to most people because that's still like
that's a lot.
Tuition here. Like full tuition here out of state would be half tuition there. So they most of the time, like USC does as well, I'm pretty sure in SMU, they usually most of the time only give out full rides. So in that situation, they're trying to look for kids that are very talented, that can get them points and are very consistent. So that's the type of people that they look for at those programs.
Right. It's kind of crazy to hear you say that, you know, even though things were going well for you on the track and you're living in the city of Miami, is, you know, everything seems like it's good from the outside, but you wanted more because it's like, I think we kind of live in a day and age where people, they can be a part of good teams, but if they're not performing well themselves, they want to transfer. You really see it opposite. You really see where guys are doing really, really well and they're doing their thing, and they transfer out because the team isn't necessarily lining up with their goals. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So whenever you made your mind up you were going to transfer, where did you look?
I mean, it was honestly a little selfish of me to transfer, but sometimes in life you got to make those selfish decisions.
Right.
And I wasn't running super great by any means in Miami. I was running pretty well, but not great. Like I think I was like 50th in the country in the hurdles, and then I came here and I was 4th the next year. So it was like the hurdles there were not great for me. I was a part of a couple of the relay teams that did well.
Right.
But my decision to come here was, Pat Henry, Coach Henry.
Yeah.
So when I was deciding to transfer, it was LSU. I sent emails out to LSU, Oregon, Texas A&M, and I talked to University of Arizona because I have a good relationship with their coach there. And LSU wasn't super interested. Oregon was, but I had been teammates with Devin Allen before, and I really loved it, but I also kind of wanted to do my own thing.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times in high school, I kind of would get a little overshadowed and not as much exposure, and that kind of did hurt my recruiting a little bit in high school. And not that I didn't want to run with him because we were great teammates and we work well together. Like when I go back, we train together and stuff.
Right.
But I kind of wanted to build something on my own. Like he had already established himself there and had a great program going, and they had won a couple championships. And I kind of wanted to do that on my own and go somewhere. So then Oregon was kind of out there. And then I came here on this visit, and Coach Henry took me to the indoor track, and then he sat me down in his office, and he was like, listen, there's a lot of coaches in the country that will tell you you'll win a national championship while you're here. He goes, he points to behind him, and I don't know if you've ever been in his office. No. He's got like 39 national championships. Yeah. So they're all behind him. Right. So he points behind him and he goes, I can guarantee you'll win one while you're here.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Coach Henry, for as old as he is and not as connected to the young, he's got some swag, man. Like
exactly.
So I was like, okay, all right. So I committed. I went home. I didn't even tell my parents. I just called Coach Anderson and I was like, hey, I'm going to commit. I did it playing. I was playing NHL with one of my friends actually, and we were just sitting there. And he's like, "So what are you gonna do?" And I was like, "You know what? I think I'm just gonna go to A&M." And I called Coach Henry or Coach Anderson because they were at Worlds. Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, I'm coming," and they were super excited. So that was the kind of story of me transferring.
What was that transition like?
It was hard because like I'm from Phoenix, which is a big city.
Phoenix to Miami to Texas.
Yeah, and not only Texas, but like College Station, Texas. Not a knock on College Station, but like there's nothing here. So like, for a guy like me that just grew up in like a big city all the time,
exactly.
Like it was hard. I got here and I was like, I animal science was my first class I took here, and it was the first class I had here in the morning. And I walked into class and I sat down, and I've got my backwards hat on. I had my earrings in, and
Yeah.
I was wearing my Air Force Ones. Like I was total Miami kid.
Yeah.
Phoenix kid came straight to, and this kid with a belt buckle about this big walks and sits next to me, starts spitting in a cup, and I was like, I texted my dad, and I was like, I don't know what I just did. Like I don't know where I am right now. It was a shock for me for sure. It was crazy.
Yo, that's hilarious. But on the track though, everything was going for you well. Your sophomore year you got here?
Yeah.
Sophomore year. Did y'all have like, obviously in football there's depth charts, but there's so many people on the team. Y'all have like a depth chart, like a first stringer, second stringer, third stringer? How does it work out?
You kind of just know, like it's objective. It's not a subjective sport. Okay. So like for football, if you played running back, it's the coaches are subjective about you. Like that's one reason why I love track is because you can't tell me that I'm not better than somebody because it's on time. Like, there's no way that you can justify to me that someone's better than me if I've run faster than them.
Exactly.
Whereas a football, you could say, well, they block better than you, or they do and it's very subjective, like based on what the eye sees. You can kind of look at statistics, but like there is no real depth chart in track. It's kind of like who's the fastest guy on the team, and then who's the next fastest guy on the team, and it kind of and for our relay. Sometimes, actually, if you're not one of the fastest, Coach Henry always says, I want to put the 4 best guys out there.
Right.
But there are certain situations where he just trusts someone a little more than somebody else, even if that other person does have a quicker time that year.
Yeah.
If Coach feels like you perform better in a certain situation, he'll put you on that relay.
Okay.
And, he's won so many championships that I think he's got the formula down for who to put on what relay. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Whenever you got to college, what events did you want to run?
I wanted to do the 400 hurdles, obviously, but I also wanted to try the decathlon. And Coach Henry, if he ever watches this, he's never let me do it, and I'm super bummed about it. But after seeing Lyndon Victor go through what he went through, I kind of changed my mind a little bit, and I don't know if I want to do that. But the 200 actually is one event that in college I wish that I could run. Like I'm gonna hopefully run it this year if Coach lets me. I begged him last year, I was like, please let me run the 200. Please let me run the 200.
You ran it freshman year, right?
Yeah, out of high school, I was like top 10 in the country out of high school in the 200. And then I ran it at Miami. But here, I've only run it one time, and it was my sophomore year. And I've been begging Coach to let me run it because I've got some foot speed, and I kind of want to go out there and show up. But I haven't had the opportunity yet. So hopefully this year he gives me that chance.
Right. 21.7?
I was 21.02 in high school. Yeah, and then
good God.
I ran 21.70 indoors here, like with 1 month of training off an injury.
Right.
So I really wish he would have let me, because like last year, I could probably ran like indoors like 20.7, 20.6 last year.
You could have.
But I wish he would have let me. I was coming through the 200 for the 400 like 21.2.
Yeah.
So like if I was full out in the 200, I could be like 20.6, 20.7. But
so if you just have this guy who's like a legend, okay? Does he get to choose his events? So if he can pretty much do anything, like say he's like the fastest at almost all of these events, can he just choose?
Yeah. Like, okay, good example is Grant Holloway at Florida.
Yeah.
That man, if they did like statistics on him, if he were his own team, he would be 9th in the NCAA. 9th as a ranking.
Oh my goodness.
Because they rank it based off of time.
Yeah.
He's a freak. So, but he can literally walk out on the track, and if he's like, I'll run the 60 hurdles today, dub. If he wants to run the 200, dub. Yeah. If he wants to run the 60, dub. Like,
right.
He can split 44 on the relay. Like, that's one of the guys where, and like Fred was another one of those guys.
I was gonna say
Fred. Like, Fred could walk out there in the 100, that's a dub. 200, same thing. 400, same thing. Like, there's a few guys like that. Like, same thing with Michael Norman.
Yeah.
There's guys like that. Noah Lyles, too. He can kind of move up and down. Those are probably names that people who watch this have never heard before. But if you want to look it up, look it up.
Yeah, yeah.
But those are guys that kind of can do all. Like, if you're like, there's some athletes that can do a lot.
Right. But your favorite race is the hurdles.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like, so I ran the hurdles in high school. I ran the 110 hurdles up until my sophomore year, and I had to stop running it because of my first injury. They didn't let me run it my junior year, and I was kind of mad about it. They always try to get me to run the 300. I never wanted to run it. It's too long for me. I never wanted to run anything longer than a 200 meter. I was not running. But for a guy to come out, you running the 400 hurdles. You ran it at the was it Junior Olympics?
Yeah, I went to the World Junior Trials in high school, and then I was at the Olympic Trials my sophomore year here. World Trials my junior year here. Last year I would have been at the USA. I've been at the USA Championships 3 times basically. Last year I didn't get to go because of my injury.
Yeah.
But this year I'm gonna try and compete for a USA title to make the team for the World Championships.
just put it in my mind, okay? For a sprinter, 'cause I ran track, I had fun with it too. Didn't really enjoy running, but the meets were fun. Meets are a lot of fun. What makes you want to run the 300? What makes you want to run a race like that? The 400, 300 hurdles, 400 hurdles, something like that.
I mean, Coach Henry would be the first person to tell you that I'm kind of crazy in the head a little bit. Like when I train, like sometimes sometimes he even makes me stop because he's like, you're running too hard. Like you got to stop. Like, I think I just have like this burning desire to win, and I don't care what event I'm in. Like I just want to do it, and so that's why I think the 400 hurdles for me works out. And on top of all that, like I've had so much adversity I've had to overcome just to even get to this point. Right. So like it's almost like my life has been a hurdle race. So that's why I kind of enjoy doing it, just because like the hurdles are not event for a weak person, like weak-minded or weak physically. Right. And so I pride myself in being like mentally prepared. No, I'm not calling you weak. No, I'm not calling you weak. Because if we were to line up and put pads on, I'd probably run the other way. Okay. So it's more of like an event for people that like, because like I was bullied super bad when I was young. Really? And so it kind of like, it made me like, I had this chip on my shoulder, and I always tell my dad like, it's so heavy sometimes I can't even walk. Because like I just want to like, not to prove to anybody what I can do, but just to like, I know what I'm capable of, and I always did, and I always knew what type of person I was. And so like, I really love the event because it's just it's like an American event. It's like if you were to pick an event that describes America, it'd be like the 400 hurdles and the 800, because that's all about grit. Yeah. It's all about, can you line up, and it's going to hurt, and can you finish that race no matter how bad you're feeling? And so like that's why I love that event, because it's really like how can you deep inside kind of thing. Like how much fight do you have in you? It's kind of like being like a boxer, like for real. Fighting something, like, because it hurts, man. Like it hurts. It hurts.
They made me run it my senior year of high school. I was part of the football one, and the football one didn't advance to the regional track meet. And
so they put you in the threes. You're a big dude, man. I don't know.
I was hurt. I was in the 400. I was on the relay, the 4x4. I actually I ran like a 49. No, that's my first time ever running.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's solid.
It was my first time ever running. I ran a 49.
How much did you weigh when you ran that?
I was about 205 though.
You were 205 on 49 in high school?
Yeah.
That's solid, bro. Yeah. That's really good.
And on my only time running, it was a 49 splits. I mean, obviously probably a little bit.
Hey, that's still good.
But
you're 200 pounds in high school or 49.
I practiced for 1 week, and our workouts were really separate. The sprinters, which we consider 200 and under, and the 400, they kind of worked out with long distance guys. They made me work out with those guys for 1 week. They were running 500, 600s at practice, and I'm like, bro, this is not for me. I only ran 200s, and the longest thing I ever ran was a 300. Okay, at practice.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to run a 500, 600 meters. That's a long distance for a guy, that didn't do that. But yeah, I ran in the meet, man. I died. Like I ran it, and we performed well, but I got on the field and I just like.
Oh yeah.
Fell out. My body was gassed.
There's a thing that football players don't usually probably get. It's called booty lock, and track athletes get it. It's literally where your lactic acid levels like get so high in your legs that you feel like it feels like someone is like, you ever seen those hydraulic press machines? Mm-hmm. Feels like there's 2 hydraulic presses and they're just going straight onto your butt and your hamstrings, and you can't move. Like sometimes I'll be out there, and like there was one time we had a 450. And I ran with Fred Curley and Braylon Taplin. Those are both, Fred Curley used to be the collegiate record holder in the 400. Yeah. Braylon's an Olympic finalist. And Coach Henry was like, I need you to come through with them to the 4 and then just finish the last 50. So we came through with 45 seconds in a workout through the 4. Yeah. And then we finished the last 50. And I was curled up in our locker room by the toilet, just sitting there. In the fetal position. Like I knew it was nasty, but I was like, I can't move. Like it's okay. Like I just was like, it was one of the lowest for me. I was like, this is bad, but I can't move, so I just didn't move.
Oh, we had a guy on our team who was actually really good at track. He went on to run at Texas Tech, and he described the race to me before I would run it at practice. He was like, this first 100, you're gonna, you want to pick up your speed. The second 100 is gonna carry you. This third one, you're gonna really start feeling it. When you're on that back stretch, you're gonna be done, but just keep pushing. And I remember like it was like playing over and over in my mind when I was running, and I got down this back stretch, and I'm like, I literally felt like I couldn't pick my legs up, man.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, starting to swing out to the side. I'm just running.
It's almost like someone is running behind you, and they just jump on your back and they bear hug you, and you just got to carry them the rest of the way. That's how it feels.
People talk about a monkey on your back. Like you can really feel that monkey on your back holding on to you, man. So how would you describe sophomore, junior year here at A&M?
Sophomore year, I was kind of feeling it out. Mm-hmm. So I did well here. I was 4th at NCAAs. I anchored our relay. I had fastest split at NCAAs on the relay. I went to the Olympic trials, and it was great. Like, it was a good year for me because I had come off of an injury that year. Like, after I'd left Miami, I had a 5th metatarsal, so I had I think they call it a Jones fracture or something like that. So I had a screw put in my foot before I came here, and I was afraid that Coach Henry wasn't going to let me come here because I actually did it. I was doing a dance on my mom's birthday, and I told Coach Henry I was playing volleyball. But because I was so scared, he was going to just be like, don't even come.
Yeah.
But I was doing a dance because my mom was like, oh, show me this dance, show me this dance. And it was on her birthday. And I landed and I twisted my ankle and I heard this and I was like, that's not good. So man. I walked around it for a little bit and then I told my brother, I was like, hey, I think I broke my foot. Like, we got to go to the hospital. And he was like, oh, yeah, it's funny.
This was your freshman year?
This was going into my sophomore year before I came here. I had just committed. I was in California.
Oh, my goodness.
So my brother... he was like, all right, like, you really think you broke it? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay. So he walked up to my dad and he goes, we got to take him to the hospital. So, like, I remember they helped me down the stairs and we were in LA and they took me to this hospital in this really bad area of LA because it was the closest one to us. And there was blood all over the floor when we walked in and my dad was like, oh my God.
In the
ER, got my x-ray and I had broken it. So, like, to come off of that injury that year and make the Olympic trials, I think I was like 8th in the U.S. that year as a 19-year-old. I think Kenny Selman, the North Carolina hurdler, him and I were the youngest hurdlers in the event. So that was a great year. And then junior year came back, and I was so motivated to win a championship that, we won indoors that year.
Yeah.
We were the indoor national championships as a team in 2017. So, and that was largely due to like Fred Curley and his efforts indoors. So I helped that team in a relay aspect, but that championship is largely in part because of Will Williams' jump and Audie White's jump and Fred Curley's run. Right. So I always like to think that like I'm a big part of that team and that I was a big leader, but a lot of times it gets like Fred gets a lot of the hype from that championship. But Will, it wouldn't have happened if Will didn't jump that far.
Right.
And Audie didn't jump that high, and Lyndon didn't get those few points in the HEP. So it was Hent or Heth, can't remember what it is indoor. But so like I was part of that team, and then outdoor nationals was tough, man. Like I went in there second ranked in the country, and Francie came up to me, and he's from Grenada, so he's an island guy.
Okay.
He's like, you got to go, man. You just got to run. Like, don't even care. So like I got out hard, and I don't know if you've ever seen that race, but it was wet. It was raining in Eugene.
Okay.
And I was out harder than I've ever been in my life. And I got to the 6th hurdle, and in my head I'm like, okay, I just pushed out for the first 200 meters better than I ever have in my life.
Okay.
So I'm like, if you look up Eric Futch, because he was the one that won it. If you look up Eric Futch, national champion in the hurdles, 2017, or 2018.
It's the 400 meter.
Yeah, 400 meter hurdles. So coming to the 6th hurdle, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna back off a little bit because I pushed out real hard. I'm gonna conserve a little bit.
Okay.
So I went into the turn, and it was wet. I was in lane 2, and so I planted on my heel.
Okay.
And I didn't know at the time what had happened because it just happened so quickly. But once you watch the video, I planted on my heel, and my foot didn't stick on the ground because it was in a puddle. Okay. So my foot slipped like this, and then I rolled my ankle, and I jumped off of my ankle that was completely sideways. Ooh. So like I didn't get much in the air because when it happened, I was like, am I just a terrible jumper or something? Like, did I really just not jump high or something like that? And I didn't get to see until I watched the video, but I rolled my ankle, which I have done that a million times because, in football and everything, like I've always just had my ligaments in my ankle have always been like a little looser. So it wasn't a big deal. Like I got up and I was fine. Like I finished the race and we won the 4x4 afterwards. And I had one of my fastest splits ever on that 4x4 and I didn't even feel it. Like, cause so I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like how'd this happen?
Right.
I didn't even know I rolled my ankle. But
that's crazy.
Like, I didn't even feel it. Like, didn't even know. But if you watch the video, you'd be like, that kid broke his ankle, 100%.
Right.
But I just didn't even feel it. Like,
how was your jump?
It was bad. Like, I barely cleared the hurdle, and I nicked it with my back leg, and then I like almost did like a 360 turn, and I just fell back and whiplashed my head. I slid like 3 or 4 feet because it was wet, so I just slid on the track.
Oh God!
I had raspberries everywhere. And I was laughing because I could have, if I would have reached out, like just while I'm flailing, reached out and grabbed Eric Futch's leg and he would have fell, we would have won nationals because all I had to do was not. So a lot of things went wrong in that meet. Like Malik didn't make the final on the 4. Our pro vaulters didn't show up. Like we had a lot of things that didn't happen well for us in that meet. and I was, and Devin in the 800, who actually just broke the collegiate record, but Devin in the 800, he got last place. So all I had to do going out there was like, all I had to do is not get last place. Like if I could literally just get 7th, and we win.
Right.
Because nobody was going to beat us in the relay. And when I hit the ground, I was like, wow.
Oh my goodness.
All I had to do was not do that, and that's what happened.
I
so
gotta watch this video.
It was hard. I mean, a lot of places blame me for the loss, like because obviously that was the last event. Yeah. That was on the track before the relay. So it was my fault to a lot of people because they're like, oh, but I didn't really get to me. Like,
the team effort, man.
Yeah, like I can't run every single event. So, but it was tough for me, like, especially because I wanted that team. We had just won indoors and like that feeling was great.
Right.
So I wanted that for a lot of the guys that weren't a part of that team indoors. I wanted them to have that feeling. Yeah. And so for me, it weighed heavy on me for a couple of weeks because I had to walk into the locker room with those guys, and I had to be on the track with those guys, knowing that like I had a ring and they didn't, and it was partly my fault because I couldn't make it around the track in a race that I've never had a problem with in college one time.
Right.
So it was hard for me because I felt like I had let those guys down, and I'm a big team guy, so that was really tough for me. And everyone just kept telling me like, "Don't worry about it, don't worry." And it wasn't like I was mad at myself for what happened. Like obviously I wanted to. If I'm telling you, if I would have not fallen, I would have won that race. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me because I obviously wanted to win it, but at the same time, but I wanted my team to win because there was guys in that team that now they're gone that don't have a national championship because there was only 7 of us on that indoor team.
Right.
Because it was the relay and a few guys and we pulled it out of the hat. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
But outdoors, like John Curiozzi is best javelin thrower in the history of A&M. He doesn't get to have a team ring because, and he was national champion that year in the jav, and he doesn't get a ring because a lot of us didn't do what we were supposed to do on that day. Which is, if you're comparing football and track, there's a lot of similarities because one thing that goes wrong can ruin the whole thing.
Exactly.
If you throw an interception with 3 minutes left in the game and it's a one score game,
it's done.
You're in trouble because they can go for the 2-point conversion and you don't have time. So like that's kind of how it was for us. Like Coach Henry says, everyone's got to get it done on that day. And on that day, there was a lot of people on our team that didn't get it done, and I was one of them. Obviously, I was on the relay and we won, but I didn't get it done in my individual event. So that was hard on me just from like a team perspective because I wanted those guys to like be on the football field and have the crowd cheer for them because that's we do win a lot of national championships here in track, but it's different when like you see it and then we're a part of it. So like there's kids in our team that like they know that we're good, they know that we've won national championships, but none of them have actually been a part of one, and it's different when you like that feeling of being a national champion, like individually, because I've been an individual national champion and on a team national championship, and there's a different feeling. Like it's more like those 7 or 8 guys we won it with, those are like my brothers for life. Like it's different. Like, and I wanted that for those guys. So that's why it was hard for me on that fall. Not because I didn't win or I didn't like get all this hype and accolades because I would have won the hurdles, but it was because I let the people around me that counted on me down.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, it was tough. It was really hard.
Did you talk to Coach Henry about it?
Yeah, we talked a little bit. I mean, he knew that I was upset. He's very like Coach Henry in the moment of meets, he wants to win everything. So like he came out to me and he's never given me a hug or anything like that because he's a very like, he's like very business like all the time.
He didn't kiss you on the lips like Tom Brady?
No. Tom Brady and Robert Kraft, no.
Yeah.
But he gave me a pat on the back, and there was a lot of coaches in the NCAA that came up to me, and they were super cool. Like the LSU head coach Dennis Shaver came up to me, and a couple of TCU coaches, Miami coach, like a lot of people that I've built relationships with, they came up to me and they were like, "Hey, like that's tough, but you handled it well," because I got up and I like a lot of people probably wouldn't have ran the 4x4. They were just like giving up.
Right.
But I was like, because like in high school, like going back to when I got bullied and stuff like that, like I just always had to like keep going and keep pushing forward. And so it's almost like ingrained in me now. So like when I fell down, I was like, okay, well that's over. I can't do that. I can't do anything about it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have a time machine.
Right.
So I just got to get ready for this relay. And that's kind of like the guys that are here on this team that Coach Henry likes, like guys that are just like next up, like, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of the mentality
you
you have to
have a short memory.
Yeah, it's kind of like baseball. You can't really like dwell on things.
Same as playing quarterback. You have a short memory. So this was the end of your junior year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you kind of used that fuel to your fire, and you had a pretty crazy indoor season your senior year.
Yeah, I came out like I was busting. I was dribbling heads off the track. Like I was ready. Nobody was gonna touch me indoors, like or outdoors. If I wouldn't have got injured, nobody would touch me. I was on a rampage, and it was a great indoor season for the team too. Like we broke a world record indoors.
Yeah, I had the 4x4 world record. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's it like being a part of that team?
Well, so it's tough because USC actually beat us in the race, right?
Yeah.
And they had 3 Americans and 1 athlete who now competes for America, but at the time was registered for Antigua and Barbados. Mm-hmm. So a part of me knows that like that is the best time ever, but we're the fastest 4 people from a nation. So we were the fastest 4 people that have ever run under the same nationality. So that's kind of why we got it. And people made a big deal about it. Right. But it was pretty plain and simple, right? Like we had 4 people from the same country and they didn't. And it's tough because I'm friends with Rye and Michael and them, and I know it was tough for them because like they wanted that too. But it's just sometimes the way that rules are chalked up like that. Like we kind of got the record based off of a rule, which is tough. But at the same time, like us, USC, and Florida all ran under the world record that Poland had set the week before.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it was the fastest indoor relay ever. So that was cool to be a part of. But like I know those guys, and like I know Coach Smith at USC was upset about that too. I know, they probably put it on their thing that they have a world record too, but because they do. I mean, they had the fastest time ever, 3 flat 77. We were in 3:01:39. But just the way the rules are written, like because if you were to do that,
you didn't make up the rule.
Yeah, I don't make the rule. I just abide by them. So that's kind of the way it got chalked up.
But the indoor season was phenomenal for you.
Yeah, I almost medaled in the indoor 400 at SECs, and I'm not even a 400 runner. I'm a 400 hurdler.
Yeah.
So I was hyped. Like I almost got on the podium. I was 4th at SECs and at nationals.
Right.
I got food poisoning at nationals, and I was on an IV the night before I ran.
Wow.
And I still went out there and balled out, which was awesome. Like because I've been working a lot with the sports psychologist here on campus, and I worked extensively in high school with Jim Aframo, if you've ever heard of him.
Okay.
And just kind of through like all that mental training, it wasn't gonna stop. Like I was on IV, and I was just like sitting there like I'm still gonna do good. I'm still gonna do good. And like I didn't do as well in the open 4s as I wanted to because I was throwing up all day.
Yeah.
I threw up before the race, threw up after the race.
What did you eat?
I had salmon, and I'm not going to say which restaurant in town served it to me.
Okay.
But there was a restaurant in town that served me salmon, and it gave me food poisoning.
Okay.
And I was pissed. I wanted to email and be like, come on, man.
Put that on my list. Yeah, it almost hurt you for real. But you're having this phenomenal senior season, and the indoor, which is really just a warm-up for the outdoor, which is the main event. This is the undercard for the main event. But you ran into a roadblock. What happened?
So we went to Notre Dame for a DMR. Coach Henry sent me up there because he wanted to qualify DMR. So me, Taylor Clayton, Devin Dixon, and Alex Reba went up there.
And for the audience, what is DMR?
So it's distance medley relay. So it's a 1,200, 400, 800 mile.
Okay.
Obviously it was the 4-leg. Devin was obviously the 8-leg, and then we had 2 distance guys go with us.
Gotcha.
And so we went up to Notre Dame, which, by the way, worst, like South Bend is awful. Like it's cloudy, everything's dead, trees are dead, houses are old. I was like, this place sucks.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But so that's a side note.
Yeah.
But I felt kind of like this pain in my ankle a little bit, and so I came back and talked to the trainers and the doctors here, and you know, it was kind of an injury that was hard to diagnose. They're like, it's tendonitis, and I was like, okay. And it was championship season, so like, and I'm a tough kid, so I was like, I can't really like take this time off.
Yeah.
And now looking back on it, I wish I would have said, hey, I don't want to run SEC indoors or NCAA indoors because I want to focus on outdoors. And if I would have said that after that Notre Dame meet, I don't think I would have gotten injured, and I would have had the opportunity to run outdoors. But I didn't know what was wrong with me at the time, and I just wanted to compete.
Right.
So go to SECs, ankle's still doing pretty good, and then we get to nationals, and that week before nationals, I was struggling. Like in practice, I was limping, and I had this deep pain in my ankle, and we did an X-ray, and it came up negative. So I knew it wasn't. I was like, it's not a bone, so it has to be like ligament or tendon or something. So
Did you get an MRI?
We didn't do an MRI just because like it didn't seem like I needed an MRI.
Okay.
And I didn't tear anything or anything.
But in your
like that.
mind,
like,
you were thinking that there was a possibility.
I knew there was something that could be wrong with it, like pretty, not bad. Like I didn't think it was as bad as it was, but I knew there was something wrong with it. Like in my head, I was like, okay, after nationals, I'm going to take a break for a few weeks. And after that, it'll be fine. Yeah. Because with tendonitis, like you, as a runner, you get tendonitis a lot in different areas. Like I've had it in my knee before, and some people get in their hips and all stuff. So I was like, it's just in my ankle. Like
you got to suck it up.
Yeah. We ran that relay. I was limping heavily in the warm up for the relay. Like Coach Mallard came up to me. He was like, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "Yeah. There's no way I'm missing out on this. Like this is a once in a lifetime deal." Because the people in that relay are there was some generational athletes on other teams in the relay, so like I was ready.
Yeah.
But we get done, and then the next couple of weeks I'm struggling in practice. Like there was days that I had great days, and then there was days that I wouldn't feel so great.
Right.
And so Saul, which is our head athletic trainer, he was like, "Listen, I know you don't want to get an MRI because you're probably nervous about what would come up, but I think it's important that we do it. And then if there is something super serious, we fix it at the end of the season and get ready for next year."
Right.
And we did the MRI, and I remember walking into the doctors that day. Dr. Bramhall was in there, and he was just like, he was quiet. And that's when I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. Because it was kind of like one of those meetings where they're going to tell you, like, hey.
At what point in the year was this? Right before?
This is like at the start of outdoor.
Ooh, okay, right there.
Yeah, so it was like right when I was about to get like going on my event and getting to do my thing. And they told me I had a stress reaction, which is basically like a bone bruise, like a bad bone bruise. So I didn't break anything. I didn't have any ligament or tendon tears. I just had a stress reaction. So at the time, I'm like, oh, that's easy money right there. Give me 3 or 4 weeks, and I'll be back ready to go. But it was in an area in my ankle that for runners is very important. So it was in my talus.
Okay.
So the talus is like almost like it's like the engine of your ankle, basically.
Okay.
So everything goes through this. So all the pressure, all the power you put through your ankle goes straight to this bone. And so obviously the rest of the year, like I spent a lot of time cross training, and I worked my way to get back, and I almost got there, but it just wasn't where I needed it to be at the end of the year. And so Coach Henry and I kind of decided that it'd be best if I redshirted and came back next year, which was tough for me because I was in such good shape, like best shape I've ever been in, and I wanted to run the hurdles.
Yeah.
And that was big for me because then at the same time, like my family was going through some stuff too, and I didn't even know if I'd be able to come back to school here, just because of the way that things work out, scholarship wise. Like I wasn't going to be able to come back and be on the same scholarship I was because
you already exhausted your 4 years.
And the coaches already planned ahead for me to be gone, and it was just this big situation where like I didn't know what was going to happen, and it was tough. And you know, Coach Henry was really there for me. All the coaches were really there for me. Like they'd call me throughout the summer. Like Justin Moore, who's our associate athletic director, he was one of the guys that was really there for me. He got me into my graduate program, like helped me get into my graduate program. Wrote me my letter of recommendation, which was super great of him to do. But it was tough. Like it was hard for me. I was almost probably a little depressed at that point in time because I had worked so hard, and it was almost like, now I did all this, and really this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I was mad. And, but then, you know, everything that I've been through has kind of put me in the situation where like, I know that no matter what is thrown at me, I can make it through this. So, you know, yesterday was my first track workout in 10 to 11 months.
Yeah.
And I finished yesterday, and I just remember thinking in my head, I was like, to all those people that told me it was going to be too hard, or all the doctors and trainers, everyone that, you know, not here, but all around that told me like, that's going to be a difficult injury. And I was just like, yeah, not me. Like I'm fine. Like I can do it. So, it was a tough recovery. Like it was a tough, but if you look at any successful athlete, there's a point in time in their career when they have a really tough situation that they have to overcome. And I think that for me, this was definitely that situation.
It's almost like you have to be able to jump that hurdle.
Yeah, exactly.
Hurdle, but be able to jump that for you to reach who you truly are.
Yeah.
But I just kind of want to shine a little bit more light on that for a second, because that's really crazy. It's like you're here from sophomore to senior year. You had a good freshman year. You're building up. You get up to the senior year, have a crazy indoor season. It's about to be phenomenal. You go out and have this injury, and now you have your season taken away, and now even your scholarship's taken away because they had planned ahead already. I feel like you were in a position where it's uncertain. You know, what are you going to do next year? Where are you going to be? And now you're off scholarship. I mean, what was the conversation like with your parents, even whenever you found it out?
So I skipped graduation actually, and I went to the SC championships with my team because to me, not that graduation is important because I worked really hard for that. But there were some of the guys on the team that I'm really close with. And for me, I thought it was more important. You're good, man. Yeah. For me, it was more important for me to be there for those guys than it was to sit in a 6-hour ceremony and get a piece of paper. And I'm class 2018, and I love Texas A&M, and I'm so glad I graduated from the school.
Yeah.
But for me at that point in time, I was like, I need to be with my guys because like
Yeah.
they need like there was a couple of guys that mentally like they needed me for me to be there. Like Infinite Tucker, who got second in the hurdles. You know, I tried my best outdoor which was hard for me because we were in the same event.
Right.
I tried my best outdoors to do everything I could to help him mentally, to be there for him. Same thing with Ololo Izu, who's another guy, another 400 hurdler. And my role then became like
a coach almost.
Almost, yeah, like a coach. Like I kind of was like, okay, I warmed the guys up at SECs. Like, so, I mean, and I was mad and I wasn't mad at A&M, and I wasn't mad at Coach Henry. I wasn't mad at anybody. Actually, I was a little mad at the NCAA.
This was after you found that out?
Yeah, like this was so like it wasn't anything to do with the university or the athletics. There's no rule in the NCAA that protects kids or athletes that redshirt going into their, like, if they have an injury in their senior season. And track's a different sport because it's so close to when you're done.
Yeah.
That like there is no fail-safe for that. So for me, I was mad at the NCAA because I was like, I can't be the first person that has this issue with an injury,
right? To
where the coaches had already been planning ahead, to where like the program, because you have to think about it, like we talked about before with the scholarships, we have 12 and a half.
Yeah.
So they already knew that I was in my senior year. So like the year before, they're already thinking to themselves that money becomes available when.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It was nothing to do with anybody, but like I was super upset with the NCAA because I'm like, how can you guys not have some type of, and when you think about it more, like people would definitely abuse that system.
Right.
Especially in the NCAA, like people would say, oh, this kid got injured, so, and then they have 13 and a half scholarships and stuff like that. But
right.
I almost think there should be a waiver or something like that you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, because I was mad at almost like the world. I was like, come on, like seriously, I put all this work in. I'm a good teammate.
Why is this happening?
Like, why? Yeah. And once I read this book, it's called Extreme Ownership.
Okay.
It's written by a former Navy SEAL. And it's a great book. You should check it out. Mm-hmm. But it's all about owning everything in your life. So once I stepped back and I was like, you know what? The world's not out to get me. Mm-hmm. And everything that's happened to me is not like on purpose.
Yeah.
I just have to own everything around me. I have to own all of it. So I owned that I was going to have to come back here. And even though I wouldn't be on the scholarship that I was while I was here, I still love this team. And everything that I got out of track is because of this team, because of Coach Henry. So I was like, okay, I'm going to own that and be back there and do that. And, I'm going to own this injury, and I'm not going to let it own me, and I'm going to own my mindset about everything. I'm going to own how I react to the stuff that comes my way. Mm-hmm. And I didn't handle it very well when I first got back because I wanted to be running the way that I had used to be running right when I got back from my injury. But because like I said, I'm kind of sick in the head when it comes to training. And I just wasn't able to do it. And I had a lot of people telling me like, hey, it's going to take some time. Yeah. And I was probably super hard to work with in the training room because I was like, why? Like, why is this happening? Like, I should be, like, I feel good. Like, let me do this. Let me do that.
It's that passion. You want to get out there and actually compete.
So, but I had to own that situation. And after, I realized, okay, I have to be more patient with this. I have to be more cautious with things. I have to approach this in a different way. Like, you have to almost evolve. Yeah. So, something happens, you can't, like, change is part of everything. So, like, I had to evolve. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I've been since everything happened. And I'm actually really glad it all happened. Yeah. Because, no matter what happens with me in my track career and what happens with me going forward, like, obviously my goals are to be a professional track athlete, to make an Olympic team, to medal. But if none of those things happen, I know that what happened to me this last year and the years before, that set me up to be really successful in life just because, adversity there. I don't know if you heard of Friedrich Nietzsche. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, but he believes that like happiness comes from, he's a German philosopher, and he believes that happiness doesn't come from, like, happiness is a construct, and it doesn't come from anything but like tough times and adversity. So you get happiness from overcoming things, is basically what he says. Okay. So like a man with a why can conquer any how. Right. Is what he says. And that's kind of how I've approached this year. Like, I know what my why is. My why is, I write it on I'm not going to say it because it's personal to me and everything, but I put it on my wall and it's for my family and everything like that. And it's personal to me. But I have a why of why I want to be in track and field. Mm-hmm. And so because I have that why, I know I can conquer any how. But if that doesn't happen, I know that this has set me up to be successful throughout. Just kind of like with your injury. Yeah. Like we talked about before we got on air, like your knees took you out of playing football. Which, if you're running 49 seconds in a 400 at 205 pounds, I can only assume how good you are at football. So like you had to find like that experience got you to this point,
right?
Because you went through all that adversity and made you stronger as a person.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how I look. Like it was hard, and at first I was mad.
Yeah.
And then once I took a step back, and there's a lot of people that were there for me. Like my brother was there for me. Kurt Henry, who's Coach Henry's nephew, he was really there for me. So was Coach Henry, Coach Brady. A lot of the coaches, I had done a lot for the team,
right? And
not just like individually as a point scorer, but like a lot as like a person. And so they were there for me when I needed it too.
Right.
And so that was big. So like with all that together, now we're healthy and now we're training, but that's kind of what I got out of the experience. Like it was tough, but
yeah, I bet.
You just sometimes you just kind of have to chalk it up with like, okay, like let's go. Like this is this happened. How am I going to respond to it?
You have any goals for this year?
I do. I have some big goals this year. I'm going to be NCAA champ in the 400 hurdles. Like that is what is going to happen.
Speak it into existence.
I actually talk to my ankle every night before I go to bed. I'm like, you're doing so good. Like
just tuck it in at night.
Yeah, I give him a little pat. I'm like, you're doing great, man. You're doing real good. Yeah.
Kendall Buss used to tuck his knees in at nighttime.
Really?
Yeah. I'm telling you.
It works, man. My ankle's been feeling great. So I talk to him every night, and my goals are to be the NCAA champ in the 400 hurdles. I'd love to be USA champ in the 400 hurdles as well, and make that team that goes to Worlds. But really, a big goal for me is just to have the most fun this year to anybody. Like the one thing that I always say is nobody has more fun than me when I'm competing. Because that's kind of the way that I compete. Like I just go out there and have fun. So a big goal for me this year is like I want nobody at any meet to have more fun than me, and I just want to get everything out of myself that I can each race I'm at. And if I do those things, the times will come and the championships will come. So that's kind of the goals for this year.
That's awesome, man. This is kind of completely unrelated to your story and what we're talking about right now, but I just remember this. I wanted to ask you, so in football, we have a lot of guys who they always think they're faster than somebody else, and they always talk about, I'm the fastest at this position, I'm the fastest on the team, this and that. But nobody ever really knows, and I'm sure since y'all have times, y'all know definitely who's faster than who. Do y'all joke maybe about different things like strength or something like that, like weight room stuff? Like I'm stronger than you or stuff like that?
I mean, track, a lot of guys in track are tall, skinny guys, so we don't really joke about who's stronger than who, because I feel like some of the guys that go in there, they just snap if we ever tried to like lift. Because like I've got a football background, so I can lift pretty heavy. But I feel like if Malik and I were to go in there, like Malik Curley, if we were to go in there, I don't think he'd be able to compete with me. So I don't think we really joke about that or laugh about that. But
Big Fred will get with you though.
Oh, I don't even want to try with Fred. Fred shouldn't be running track. That man should be in the NFL playing for the Patriots, a linebacker. Like he's a freak. He's so big. But I think one thing that we kind of joke with each other about is like almost like who can handle more pain sometimes. Like kind of messing with each other. Like
you soft.
Yeah, okay. I actually said that the other day to some of my teammates, because we were having a rough practice, and I kind of sometimes I kind of just like snap and I go into this like crazy mode, and I was like, you guys are soft, like
Just going on a rant.
Yeah, but like the one thing that we kind of joke, like sometimes in practices, like there's a kid in our team, Brendan Taplin, and I feel like his sole purpose sometimes is just to make you feel like you shouldn't even be running anymore, like to run against you in practice to where like you feel like I shouldn't even be in the sport anymore, like
it's embarrassing.
So so there's sometimes in practice where we have days where like if there's a hard workout, you kind of joke and you're like, I'm gonna put you in the ground today, like your hamstrings are gonna be all over the track,
right? Like
so that's kind of what we joke about, because like track's so objective. But one thing we do joke about is how all the football players think that they could beat us in certain types of races. We laugh about that a lot. We're like, okay, like I know Christian Kirk, because I don't know him like super personally, but he's from Arizona. Yeah. And so I got to see him play in high school and stuff like that. We're the same class year. And Kwame, who was my old roommate, he would always say to me, Christian could beat you in a race. Christian could beat you in a race. I'm always like, no way. But it'll never happen. But like that was the one thing he'd always say to me is, Christian got track speed. He'll beat you in a race. And I was like, no.
Yeah, people talk about track speed being different than football speed. And some people say that like, they talk about people like, oh yeah, he doesn't have football speed, but he has track speed. Or, oh, he doesn't have track speed, but he has football speed. You think there's any difference?
I do, because when you put on a set of pads and a helmet, to be able to move the way you do, like if Christian Kirk and I were to put on pads and helmet, that man would beat me in every single race there is, no matter what. Because if you watch him when he runs, his speed, he's so fluid. Like the way that he's able to run with the pads on in the helmet and to keep his form, like that's really impressive. There's guys like that. Like Another guy like that is why am I forgetting his name? The running back, Trey. Travion has really great running form. Like, he lifts his knees, and he has really good football speed with his pads on. But if you take the pads off, and we're just put on spikes and we go to run, that's track speed. And there's a total difference between that, because there's a lot of things that go into that. A lot of it's God given, actually. But a lot of it is like technical and biomechanical stuff like that. But like, if you watched Usain Bolt, he like walked off the street, ran a 4.22.
I just saw that.
Yeah, like off the street, 34 years old, in flats.
I was about to say, his dude
in some
wearing
sweats.
shoes.
Yeah, like, and Christian Coleman from Tennessee, he ran
4.2.
like 4.1 something, like 4.18. Yeah, it was like 4.18 or something like that. And so like, I thought that would end the debate, but I think like Tyreek Hill always talks about it. Yeah, and Anthony Schwartz talks about it, the Auburn wide receiver.
Yeah. You think you could? What would you run in the 40 right now?
If any NFL GMs are out there, I would probably run, I would say like a 4.3, 4.4 in the 40 right now.
Okay.
My comparison is Marlon Humphrey, because we're a little like Marlon Humphrey and I used to run in high school, and I think he ran a 4.4. So like, I feel like I could do the same.
Yeah. He ran track at Bama, right?
Yeah.
Hurdles,
yeah. But I'm so glad he plays football, because he was a freak in track at high school. Like, I'm glad he chose that sport over track.
Yeah. You know Tony Brown?
Yeah.
I ran against Tony in high school in hurdles. He smoked me though.
Tony's athletic, man. Yeah, that kid could run 10 flat in the 100 and go out there and play cornerback too. That's pretty special.
Yeah, for real. I'm glad to finally got you on, man.
Yeah, you need to get some more multi-sport athletes here. Not multi-sport, but different sports.
Different sports on the podcast.
Yeah, so we can get some, because
it offers different perspectives. On the program.
You get to see, and then people that watch this can kind of see like the different types of athletes at A&M and stuff like that. And,
God, this guy's an ass. I hate this guy.
Yeah. Don't ask any more track people on the show after me, like, because I was probably just totally bombed it. It was terrible.
Nah, I'm just kidding, man. But yeah, you're phenomenal. I wish I got a couple more questions to ask you, but it's 2:09 right now.
You're good, man. I got plenty of time.
You said you got 2:30.
Yeah, but I mean, the track's right there. Right there. It'd take me 3 minutes to get out and over there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
If I leave here by 2:23, I'll be good to go.
So what do you have? You have workouts or you running practice?
Today's my off day, so run Monday, Tuesday, off day Wednesday, run Tuesday or Thursday, Friday, off day Saturday. Kind of different schedule.
Okay.
I just do like med ball circuits today and some like bodybuilding and general strength stuff today.
Do y'all do team workouts?
Yeah.
Because y'all have y'all workout time separate or whatever, and we
have 150 kids on the team, so like
that's a lot of
cross country team runs at one time. Sprinters run at one time, and then we all have different weight times. Like the cross country team, that goes in there, and I mean, they're not really lifting like crazy because they're super small, but like because they have to be to run that long.
So
Get
the bar a couple times.
Yeah, they do like one press and that's it. But like they go in there throughout the day, and then we have like a scheduled time. Like we lift Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Mm-hmm. On meet weeks, we lift Monday, Wednesday, like Friday probably. But we go right after we run. So sometimes teams will lift in the morning and run in the afternoon. We run and then lift after we run. So that's kind of different.
It's probably a different kind of lifting too as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of Olympic lifts and like we do like more of like explosive speed movements. Whereas like in football, you guys are doing like bench press, like because I never have to like do this to anybody.
Yeah.
So like I don't need a bench. I don't need to do upper body. Like this is all
you don't hit the curls.
It's God given.
You don't hit the curls at home. Maybe get some guns for the girls.
Curls for the girls sometimes. Yeah. Every once in a while.
Oh, let me see. Okay. Rapid fire. We're gonna run through these real quick. Your favorite hobby outside of sports?
Fortnite.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Oh, I gotta say Ace Ventura or Austin Powers. Those are my two.
Oh, okay.
I can't pick one.
That's two good choices. Best basketball player on the track team?
Will Williams. Not on the track team currently, but overall is the best track. On the team currently, probably Jaquay Ellison, 800-meter guy.
Okay, he's nice.
He's got some handles.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You played in high school?
I don't know. Or Taylor Clayton, actually a distance runner. He's actually really good. He played in high school.
Are you good?
No, I'm awful at basketball.
Are you good at Fortnite though?
Yes.
You on Xbox, PlayStation?
Yep, Xbox.
Oh, I'm on Xbox too. I might have to add you.
Yeah, man.
Okay. If you had to pick one guy on the team to go play football, who would it be?
On this team currently?
Yourself.
I'm gonna have to say myself, yeah. Either myself or
Bobby.
or Bryce Deadman. But if we're going like all time, I'd say Fred Curley. Like he's got to be on the football team.
Yeah. Funniest guy on the team.
Kyrie. I think his last name's Johnson. I never really call him by his last name, but Kyrie. He's funny. That kid's really funny. He just like talks. He reminds me of Kevin Hart.
Really?
Yeah. He just like says like some wild stuff sometimes. It's really funny. Yeah.
Least funny guy on the team.
I'm gonna have to go with Devin Dixon, least funniest guy on the
team. Y'all are good friends.
Yeah. Devin, I'm just kidding. I mean, I just never heard him like joke before. Like he's just like a very like calm, collected guy. Like I've never heard him like actually joke about anything before.
Yeah, I was talking about the game for a little bit. I walked by, I was like, "Yo, bro, congrats." He was just like, I don't think he opened his mouth. Did he?
Yeah. He's kind of shy sometimes, but yeah. So I guess that's what makes him the least funniest guy, just because he probably like doesn't joke much. Yeah.
Best dressed person on the team.
Oh, you know what? I've won best dress the last 2 years at the BCAs, but that's just because I show up on that day. But if we're going like everyday best dressed, I'm gonna go with the Lolo Izu.
Okay.
He has a good style. Like he puts his outfits together pretty well.
Pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Who's the worst dress?
Worst dress on the team.
You see this guy like, what are you wearing, bro? Take that off.
I mean, I don't want to say me but like sometimes during the day, like it looks like I got dressed in the dark sometimes because like. For practice, like sometimes I just don't care. Like I got on pink shoes, black shorts, red top. Like I just don't care. And Coach Henry would be like, "Did you get dressed in a dark, Grant, or something like that?" And I'm like, but when it comes down to it, when I need to be dressed,
you get the job done.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you, man. I'm glad
Appreciate
you
it. Thanks for having me on, man.
For sure. All right, all of you guys who are tuning in right now, be sure to like, subscribe. Are you liking and subscribe to our page?
Yeah, of course I am, man. Right when you put it up.
On Spotify, iTunes,
I don't have a YouTube account.
Oh.
I don't have a YouTube account. I probably should do that.
Yeah. Go create a YouTube account. Okay. Not you, but everybody who else is listening, but also you too. Subscribe to our channel, like, comment. Every comment does a lot for us, man. If you're on Spotify or iTunes, leave a rating and review for the podcast. That's all you got to do. Rate and review, man.
I will.
Did you leave a review?
I will for this one.
5 stars. For sure, man. Thank you for coming on again.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, be sure to tune in next week. We have 2 big-time guests on. I'm going to get a coach on next week.
Oh, nice.
I'm not going to say who it is yet, but it's going to be a funny episode. I'm going to say that much. All right, guys, peace. Throw your deuces up, man.
No,
I'm just kidding.